Mavericks was a magician with the basketball. Led the league in scoring. Scored 65 points against Frazier and the Knicks in a game in New Orleans. Different city, same franchise. Now listen, Mavericks was not a winning player. He didn't make anybody around him better. He was a one-man carnival act. I'll be the first to admit it. But as far as talent, Mavericks averaged 44 points a game in college, which people don't, and that's with Dan Issel in that tough conference. That's how good Mavericks was. I love Stephen A. He's usually sharp, but maybe he forgot that Utah was down in New Orleans first. That's the Jazz. Pistol Pete, without any argument, without any argument, is the most skilled player the Jazz ever had as a franchise.
You know, miracles do happen. Miracles do happen. I'm going to stand down on that, doggy.
Oh, I don't believe it. I won one.
Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. You are absolutely right. It completely slipped my mind because it was New Orleans as opposed to Utah. I was thinking Karl Malone and John Stockton because that's what I've been arguing with everybody that has texted me or emailed me or whatever about it or got at me on Stephen A's World when they were talking about Utah because of Karl Malone and John Stockton. I wasn't even thinking about Pete Maravich because from an offensive talented standpoint, Pete Maravich was the real deal. There is no denying that. He was a magician. He did average 44 in college. I mean, the guy was absolutely sensational offensively. My issue is that when they look at John Stockton obviously was tough as nails, a stout point guard, made decision-making was sublime. Of course he was. But in the same breath, in terms of his talents, you know, ball handling, shooting, et cetera, I didn't find him to be all that. I clearly believe, we all know that Isaiah Thomas was left off to the Dream Team because his relationship with Jordan, Pippen, and other players. It wasn't because John Stockton deserved to be on a team ahead of him. We all know that Isaiah Thomas got hosed. He should have been on the original Olympic Dream Team in Barcelona in 1992. That's one of the biggest travesties in the history of the sport. Shame on it's a shame on basketball for not making sure Isaiah Thomas was a part of that team. Even though Stockton loves him, he introduced Stockton into the Hall of Fame. We get all of that. But Stockton, I found him to be just a rock-solid, hard-nosed, productive point guard, but not that guy. And Karl Malone, let me tell you something about Karl Malone. Karl Malone retired as his second all-time leading scorer. He was a, pick and pop, elbow jump shot. Masculine, very muscular, could finish at the basket with those elbows, stuff like that. Could definitely finish on the break, but his all-around skill, his agility, his athleticism, et cetera, I didn't find him to be that dude. When I look at Donovan Mitchell, as a matter of fact, with Karl Malone, let me say this for you right here, doggy. I think that the second greatest power forward in the history of basketball behind Tim Duncan was Kevin McHale. 10 feet in, you could not stop him. He, to me, was better than Karl Malone in the post. Couldn't shoot from the outside like Karl Malone could. Didn't get in the open floor like Karl Malone could. But back to the basket, 10 feet in, Karl Malone wasn't even in his stratosphere.
I don't disagree. You forgot Pettit. You forgot Pettit.
Yeah, whatever.
Hold on now. Hold on now.
I didn't have that footage about
17 rebounds.
I didn't have the footage about Pettit, okay?
No,
but I will say.
But you're right, though.
I will say this.
I agree. Everything you said.
Donovan Mitchell. Look at his ball handling skills, his three-point shooting, his mid-range game, his strength, his ability to finish at the basket, stuff like that. I believe that the only argument that could be made against him is Pete Maravich. From a talent perspective, there is no one else in the history of the Jazz franchise that you can point to, strictly from a talent perspective, that usurps Donovan Mitchell. Nobody.
Kumbaya, kumbaya.
I was going to say, are we agreeing on this?
I agree on everything he said. I don't believe it took me an hour and a half, but I agree with everything he said. He's sharp today out there in Vegas. How about that?
Wow, I'm impressed.
Not bad.
I guess that's what we got then. Anything else, Stephen A? Nothing?
No, I was just, like I said, he got me because I was thinking Utah. I wasn't thinking New Orleans. And that's why because I would have mentioned Pete Maravich. I actually would have mentioned Pete Maravich because he's right about his offensive wizardry. There's no doubt about it. Matter of fact, even though it was in a different way, the kind of wizardry that we credit Kyrie Irving for having, once upon a time, that's what we felt about Pete Maravich as an offensive talent. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.